Hello there, everyone. My name is Crazy Caleb, and welcome to Ultimate Tic Tac Toe. So this is the way the module looks. It is a very colorful Tic Tac Toe board, and in this instance, as you're looking at the Tic Tac board, one thing that you're going to realize here is that there is a smaller version of a Tic Tac board, and there's a bigger version of Tic Tac board. In this case, each of these 3x3 squares has a little 3x3 in it, and this is going to be essentially representing the big picture of what we're looking at here. So our goal with this module is we're going to be filling in a series of different tic-tac-toe grids, and what we're going to try and do is with these big 9 grids in this case, what we want to try and do is we want to try and form a tic-tac-toe with that. That's going to be the way that this works. So we're always going to be playing as O's, and the module will be playing as X's, and the way that this actually works is, essentially there's going to be a series of different ways how the module behaves, and the way that it actually places the cells down. But first things first, we actually need to go over the rules of how Ultimate Tic-Tac-Toe works, because this works in a very specific fashion, essentially. So, placing your symbol into a cell in one of the small 3x3 grids will determine where the next player has to place their symbol in the big 3x3 grid. So essentially, if we take a look here, if we were to, for example, start off in this middle grid here, and we were to place our first symbol in the middle left, our opponent has to place somewhere in this middle left square over here. And in this instance, he does. Now what we have to do is we have to essentially place we ourselves now have to place a symbol down in the bottom right 3x3 grid here. That's going to be the way that this works, and we're always going to be going back and forth between it. And I will cover some of the rules if we happen to not be able to place specific locations when that time comes. But this is essentially what makes this module a bit long, is because there's going to be a lot of back and forth that we need to do. Because winning a small 3x3 grid will win that cell in the big grid, essentially. That's the way that this is going to work. And what we want to do is we want to find 3 cells in the big grid that form a valid tic-tac-toe. That's going to be the way that this works. Now, normally what I would like to say with this is I would like to not prioritize going after specific cells and kind of just improvising and going along with the module. It's not that hard to strike on, but it is much easier to strike on it just by misplacing a specific symbol rather than actually losing to the actual game. So there is some thought process that actually needs to go into this. Obviously, trying to place cells later on that have already been filled in so that we are able to pretty much place wherever is going to definitely be a big help for us. So we'll get into that in just a moment. And now, what we need to also understand is we need to understand how the module behaves. And the way that this works is it's actually going to be pretty easy to tell. If the bomb is restricted to a specific small grid, it will choose the cell within that grid with the lowest value, favoring earlier cells in reading order in case of ties. Otherwise, it will choose the first small grid in reading order that contains the lowest value cell, then make a move in the grid that as described above. Now, what this is actually going to be doing here is it's actually going to be choosing from the lowest available color value. In this case, it's going to go from black to blue to green to cyan, white to red, magenta, yellow, and white. It's going to be in that order, and in this case, if we happen to select middle left, which we just did here, it chose the black immediately because that's the lowest value that was present in this little 3x3 grid here. So now, what's going to happen here is now we can choose any value here. If we were to, for example, choose the bottom middle, it would then choose X at this position here because this is the bottom middle 3x3 grid. Black is the lowest value, so it's between these two. And since this one is the first in reading order, that is what it would choose. So there is a little bit of strategy involved, and we can just kind of go whatever. But this is essentially what's going to be happening here. And a strike will be incurred in the following situation. Attempting to place an O in a small grid when the player is restricted to a different small grid, allowing the game to end in a draw, or allowing the bomb to win. That is going to be the way that this works. So it's very important that you do that, but the one that gets the most people, and myself included, is going to be this rule, making sure that you play it in the correct grid. As much as you want to essentially kind of just fill in these grids immediately, that's not the way that this mod works. So let's start placing stuff in the bottom right here, because this is the current cell that we're going to be facing at. And let's just place up in the top left here. So now we're going to be placing up in the middle right. So this is essentially what we're going to be doing here. Let's place, let's do middle. We're going to go top left now. Let's do top left, for example, because it will place blue here, which we can then go to top middle. We can then go top right. And really, you don't need to do much strategy for this. I'm going to be real with you. There is not much strategy involved in this. We can then go middle left here. It wants us to go top left. And now what we can essentially do here is now because we're going to be going up to top left. Kind of a bit of strategy that I had in mind there is because blue is the earliest to come into place here. Now what we can do is we can now place 0 and O down in the bottom left here. And what we have here is we have the ability, we have this tile has been gained now. So what we want to kind of do is we kind of want to start from this location, see if we can get some stuff here. The X was placed right over here, so we know that for a fact we're going to be going up to the top middle. It's very important that even though you gain a cell, you need to keep track of where the most previous X was placed, so that we can place this in the correct position. So let's do we can do a middle here, because what we can then do is we can then do a middle, and the X will then place it in the top middle, and then we can finish off this guy by getting the bottom middle. So let's do that. So do you? Does that indeed. And now we place this in the bottom middle here. And just like that, we have our second O. Now what we want to try and figure out is we want to try and figure out how to get the top right. And this is actually going to be the way that we're going to do this. So now, what we have here is the X was just placed down in this in the bottom middle 3x3 grid here. And it actually is representing the top middle. However, since the top middle has already been determined, we are now allowed to place it wherever we want to. And let me see if it actually says it somewhere in here. So if the example is if C2, the big grid, has already been won by someone, O's turn, B3 big grid, X gets to choose freely where to place his piece. So now we're actually going to be able to freely be able to choose where we place our piece here. So this is going to be what we're going to be able to do here. So now what we can do is we can now go top right here. And what we can then do is we can help ourselves get into a better position. Actually, one thing that we can immediately do as well, we don't even really need to worry about this, is we can then do top right. Top right will then give us the ability to place black. It's going to have X place black here because it's the first available value that is not O, and it's also not covered as well. Top middle has already been secured. We can then play middle and then solve the module. So it's top right, it places the X there, and now the top middle has been covered. We can now place it anywhere that we want to. So now we place the O here. And just like that is a solved module. So that's kind of the little bit of strategies that you want to use here. Like I said, it's not really all that big of an issue to kind of focus on one area, but obviously having some sort of ideas of how to sort of make the module simple for you, especially when you're that close to getting 2 of them done, will definitely be handy there. Absolutely, it will be. And some people actually solo this module. It's a very simple concept to do. Most people don't even like solo all of the values. All they simply do is just do black, blue, and green, and that's going to be actually probably in most cases enough to actually be able to do. So let's go into one more example. This module can take a little bit of time, and now that we know how this actually works, let's go through this a little bit quicker here. All right, switch up. But yeah, remembering that if there happens to be a 3x3 a big tile in the 3x3 grid that has been claimed, it's going to help you, and it's actually going to be allowing you to place wherever you want. You want to use that to your advantage as much as possible. Keep that in mind. So let's start at the bottom left over here. I like this position. Place bottom middle. Let's place it bottom middle here. We're going to go top middle here. Let's go middle. It's going to go top middle. Now we're probably better off actually going over to the side here because both of these are going to be causing problem for us, and we actually want to get as many filled up as we can. So let's go middle left. It gives us middle. Let's go middle left again. Then let's go bottom left. Let's go over here, middle left. It'll give us top middle, and now we can actually finish this one off here. So let's go middle right. Okay. Now it wants to go middle left. And pretty much, we kind of want to just prevent black from getting any sort of X's here. So let's just kind of do this. Bottom middle. We now need to place middle right here. Let's go top right. Let's go top right. Oh, sorry.
To give you that, but I really can't.
We were supposed to place in the middle right here. That is my bad. It gets the best of me sometimes because it wants you to play middle right. This was the last time we placed here, so we need to go middle right over here. So let's go middle here. Let's get ourselves another point to help us. We need to go bottom left now. So let's go. Let's think about this. Is there any way that we can get top middle from this at all? And it's looking like a no. Okay. So let's just, for example, let's just go top left. Okay, it wants to go middle right. Now we can finish this one off. Here we go. So now it wants us to go middle left over here. We can block off this other win of Tic Tac Toe right here. Go top right. It wants us to go top left. Let's go. For example, let's go bottom left. Or no, let's go maybe top left. It places an X, wants to go bottom right. Let's go maybe bottom left here. No, but bottom left will block this off if we happen to have to use this later on. So let's go bottom middle. No, let's go bottom right again, because it'll go top right. Okay, let's go bottom left. Or perhaps let's go top right. And we'll then go bottom middle, and then we can go bottom right. Okay, then it wants to go middle, then we can do this. Magenta. Next step will be green, so it's going to be this one right down here. Yep. Now we can go bottom left here. Get that one taken care of. It does block this off, but we do have another point that we've claimed here. Bottom left, it wants us to go bottom left here. So maybe let's go top... let's go top right, because the next point will be green. We've added all the blues. We go top right. We now have the middle point, and now we can solve this module by simply hitting middle right. And there we go. Apologies for that one strike, but essentially that's what you want to do with this mod. As you can see, it can sometimes take a while, but really there is not much to worry about just as long as you are following the rules like I did there. As always, thank you guys for watching. Remember to stay crazy, stay cool, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.